everyone, welcome to Rolling with Ellie. Today I have a very exciting recipe for you. We are going to be making a 4-layer plus toppings Reese's peanut butter pie. This pie, I'm telling you, is the bomb. It has a bottom layer of chocolate ganache, 2 layers of a peanut butter mix, and it's topped with whipped cream and fudge and Reese's Pieces. Oh my gosh. So this one that you see here in the photo, I brought to work and they loved it. So much so that after I posted a photo of it on my Facebook, one of my co-workers, as you can see here, commented that she is dreaming of this. So she has agreed to come into the comments after this video is posted and tell you what she thinks. But please don't just take our word for it. I encourage you to go ahead and make it yourself. And I would love it if you would come onto the comments and share with me and the other Rolling with Ellie community what you thought. And it would be so much fun if we can discuss in the comments how we feel about this pie. So let's go ahead and get started. For this video, we are going to use a store-bought crust, and eventually I will put a homemade crust video on here, but I use a store-bought crust, and what you want to do is follow the directions per crust that you buy, unless you have a recipe for your homemade one. And I wanted to also show you that sometimes when you have a crust, it may shrink. And I left this in. I could have easily rebaked this pie crust for the sake of this video, but I wanted to show you what you can do. I left it in on purpose so I can show you how you can camouflage something like this with your whipped cream. So now we're gonna go ahead. We have baked our crust and our crust is sitting aside cooling. So now we're gonna work on our chocolate ganache layer. So in a small bowl, you wanna add 3/4 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips, and I got the extra small just because they'll melt faster. And you wanna add 1/8 cups of heavy cream, but you want it to be hot. And you can let it sit for a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds, so it can help melt your chocolate chips. And once you see your chocolate chips are getting melty, you want to start mixing in the center so you can incorporate your cream nice and evenly, and it helps to mix the two together better. And then once that is mixed, you want to add 2 tablespoons of corn syrup. And this is going to give that layer, it's going to be a little bit fudgy, but a little bit chewy, which is it goes so perfectly well with the mousse layer, so it's gonna be delicious. So now once this is ready, I went ahead and I put it on the bottom of my pie crust. And as you can see, I also pulled it up a little bit to the sides. So it went up to the sides for maybe about 1 inch high. And that just helps, so when you cut it and it's holding your mousse layers, it just helps it a little bit. But it's also, who doesn't want a little extra fudge? I know I do. So just as you can see here, that's what I did. Now we're gonna work on our whipped cream, and I wanted to share with you how you can whip your cream if you don't have the whisk attachment. So you can use your whisk attachment if you have it, or if you don't, use your regular hand mixer and a hand whisk, which you can get from even the Dollar Tree. You can get it pretty inexpensive. So what we wanna do is add 2.5 cups of heavy cream to our bowl, and we wanna mix it till it gets a little thicker, like soup, and is a little frothy. And now what we're gonna do is set this aside, and we're gonna work on adding a stabilizer. So in a separate bowl, you wanna add 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and you want to warm it, whether you nuke it or do it on a stove. You don't want it really hot, you just want it warm enough to melt your gelatin. So add 1 teaspoon of clear gelatin and mix. And if it gets a little lumpy, just warm it until it's not lumpy anymore. And then what we want to do is add that to our whipped cream mixture. And then we also want to add 1/4 cups of sugar. Now we're going to go ahead and mix it. If you have the whisk attachment, whisk this until you have a stiff peak. If you're not using the whisk attachment and you're using the hand mixer, just go ahead and whisk it until you have some soft peaks, or it's whisking it as much as it can with, before it, and you see that's not getting to those stiff peaks. Then what you want to do is take your hand mixer out and finish whisking it by hand with your whisk. And what you'll see is if you're using a hand whisk, it'll start to thicken up very quickly, and you'll get stiff peaks like this. And then once you have these stiff peaks, you want to wrap it and put it in your refrigerator, because now we're going to work on our peanut butter base. In a medium-sized bowl, we're going to mix together 8 ounces of room temperature cream cheese, so softened, 3/4 cups of sugar, and 3/4 cups of peanut butter. And what you want to do is, as you can see, the attachments I'm using here is the whippers, and you can use the whip attachment on a KitchenAid, is just keep mixing this on high until it gets very fluffy, creamy and fluffy. It might take about 4 to 5 minutes. And it should look like you see here, because what we're going to do is we are going to add some of the whipped cream to this, and you want it to be nice and fluffy. Almost like a mousse texture, but a little thicker. Once done mixing and this is nice and fluffy, take out about a 1/2 cup of this peanut butter mixture, and you can set the rest of the mixture aside. We're going to work on that after this. So what I did was I took a 1/2 cup of this mixture and I smoothed it on top of the ganache layer. So this is going to be one of our layers. So smooth it on there as evenly as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you just want a nice layer there. And then once you're done with that, you're going to get your other peanut butter mixture, the rest of that. And then also you want to go take out the whipped cream out of the cooler. And with the whipped cream, you want to take out 1.5 cups of that whipped cream and set it aside, because we're going to use that to make our border around the edges of our crust. So once you have that set aside, you want to take that remaining peanut butter mixture and the remaining whipped cream, and you want to fold the whipped cream into that peanut butter, and you want to fold it. You don't want to mix it or stir it really fast, or really, you want to do like a nice smooth, like soft mixture, fold it in. You can do a figure 8, that helps you get it incorporated. You want to keep the fluffiness, and if you mix it too fast or too much, you can deflate your whipped cream and your whipped mousse. So you don't want to do that. You want to just fold it in there till you get it nice and incorporated. And I wanted to add right here, I like my desserts very sweet and some people don't. So you can taste this mousse right here. And if it's not to your desired sweetness, you can add sifted powdered sugar. And I just added a little bit, maybe like 3 tablespoons, and then folded it in and tasted it. And then once it gets to your desired sweetness, you are good to go. And then once you do that, you can go ahead and pour that on top of your peanut butter pie. And it will be a little loose, but don't worry about that. It is going to stiffen up once you let it sit in the refrigerator overnight, or it may even take just maybe 4 hours. So I know it's hard to wait for this pie to be done to eat it. Trust me, I could not wait. So the next 2 steps before we top this off with our whipped cream border is we're going to heat our fudge and drizzle it on top of the pie, and then take our chopped Reese's and top that fudge layer with the Reese's. All right, now our last step is to pipe on our whipped cream border. And if you don't have a pastry bag and a pastry tip, no worries. All you need is a good sturdy Ziploc bag. And I would suggest cutting about a 1/2 inch hole and testing it out on a plate so you can see how big your rosettes will come out. And if you don't like them, if they're too small, you can cut another, just a little bit more off. And here I'm gonna purposely demonstrate how this looks when your rosette is not big enough and you can see the edges of your crust. So if you are trying to hide your crust, you want to make bigger rosettes. So right here, you can see me making bigger rosettes. And what I did was, after I did this, I scooped it off and I redid my rosettes. And now right here, you can see how large my rosettes are, and you cannot see the edges of the crust. So even if your crust doesn't shrink, but a piece of your crust falls off, I have before hit my pie on an edge of something and a piece fell off. And now I'm like, okay, I have this beautiful pie and I have an inch crust missing. Well, you can hide that with some whipped cream. And here you go. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. And if you have any feedback, I'd love it if you drop them in the comments. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. I really enjoy bringing these videos to you. So again, I just want to thank you for rolling with me, and I will see you on the next one.